Hi everyone, this is Brinda and today we're going to be talking about the brachial plexus. So remember, when we talk about the brachial plexus, we essentially have 5 nerve roots. And in addition to that, your brachial plexus essentially consists of roots, trunks, division, cords, and branches. And how do we remember that? Remember, your mnemonic is RDLs twice daily, curb boredom. Okay, so your mnemonic is doing RDLs twice daily, curb boredom. So let's talk about the brachial plexus a little bit more. So your brachial plexus essentially has these 5 nerve roots. So you have C5 nerve root, C6 nerve root, C7, C8, and T1. Okay. Your C5 and C6 nerve root essentially combine to form the superior trunk. C7 forms the middle trunk, and C8 and T1 form the inferior trunk. Okay. So again, your C5 forms the superior trunk, your C5 and C6 form the superior trunk, C7 forms the middle trunk, and C8 and T1 essentially form the inferior trunk. Now remember, each of these trunks basically divides into 2 divisions, okay? You have your anterior division and your posterior division, okay? So everywhere you're going to see your anterior division, okay? And you are also going to see a posterior division everywhere, okay? Your posterior divisions basically combine, okay? All these posterior divisions combine to form your posterior cord, okay? So your posterior divisions combine to form the posterior cord, okay? And talking about your anterior divisions, remember superior and medial, they are like best friends. They don't like inferior, okay? So the anterior part, the anterior division of the superior and the middle one will combine to form your lateral cord, okay? And the anterior division of your inferior one, okay? The anterior division of the inferior trunk will actually stay alone and it will essentially form your medial cord, okay? Now, all of these cords eventually give rise to branches, okay, which are essentially your nerves. So your lateral cord essentially gives branches to these 3 nerves, and the mnemonic for that also starts with an L, which is your LML. Okay, so the nerves that come out from the lateral cord will be your lateral pectoral nerve, musculocutaneous nerve, and your lateral root of median nerve. Okay, your posterior cord essentially gives rise to 5 branches, okay? And the mnemonic to remember those is ultra. So you have your U for upper subscapular nerve, L for lower subscapular nerve. You have T for thoracodorsal nerve, R for radial nerve, and A for axillary nerve. And last but not the least, your medial cord essentially gives rise to another 5 branches. And the mnemonic for this is 4MU, which is your medial cutaneous nerve of arm, medial cutaneous nerve of forearm, medial pectoral nerve, medial root of medial nerve, and ulnar nerve. I do want to point out one thing, which is if you look over here, your lateral pectoral nerve and your lateral root of the median nerve. And look over here, you have your medial pectoral nerve and medial root of the median nerve, right? So if you remember those two, like your your pectoral as well as your lateral and medial roots of the median nerve, for the median cord, you just have to remember median cutaneous nerve of arm and median cutaneous nerve of forearm, right? And then the last thing I wanted to mention is that your roots also give out some branches. Your roots and trunks also give out some branches. So remember, your roots essentially gives out 2 branches. The first one is your dorsal scapular nerve, okay? It's your dorsal scapular nerve, and which is essentially just from C5, okay? And then from C5, C6, and C7, you actually have your long thoracic nerve, okay? You also have something known as your long thoracic nerve that comes out from C5, C6, and C7. The mnemonic to remember the branches coming out from the roots is actually here in RDL itself, where R stands for root, D stands for dorsal scapular nerve, and L stands for long thoracic nerve. Okay. And the nerves coming out of the trunk, remember there are 2, so twice for 2 nerves coming out of the trunk. And those are essentially your supra and your sub, right? So you have your suprascapular nerve coming out from the top. Okay, so you have your suprascapular nerve, and you have your nerve to subclavius. Okay, your nerve to subclavius that come out from the trunks. So that's it with all of your roots, trunks, division cords, and branches associated with your brachial plexus. Thanks for joining me today and hope you have a great day.